of the shorter, easier tracks here in the UK provided quite a different challenge to Peeler, but we started the track session downhill test last summer. This time out we've got a size extra large, and you know what, the riders varied between 5'10" and 6 foot. It turned out to be the perfect size. At £7,300, the track session is the most expensive production downhill bike on the market, but when you look at the detail and the finish on this bike, it really is something special. Out of the box, we really didn't like the narrow Bontrager bar, the stem that came with this bike. We've swapped that out to a Renthal, a fat bar, and it's just allowed us to get a nicer feel, nicer position on the bike, more balanced, more central. There was a hell of a racket coming from the session. We just couldn't work it out. Was it starting from the fork? Was it the chassis? Was it the transmission? Was it the chain device? Anyway, as it turns out, we were running an aluminium chainstay on the session. We came back, we've swapped that out, and you know what? That's totally silenced the bike.
So you're getting the best suspension fork on the market with the Fox 40, and well, you're getting a rear suspension design that Trek have been working on for 10 years and done a good job with it. So, well, like definitely the handlebars for me, because it was basically, I think, a mistake to put those bars on it. It's a bike that this transformed the bike, this handlebars. Well, they were just so narrow, and the back sweep almost on, it felt uncomfortable. So yeah, basically what we got it to now is like 42 inches, and that's a pretty standard number really. Size-wise, spot on really for me, but 6 foot, so if you're looking at someone over 6 foot, maybe it might be slightly on the small side.
So what's the ride character of the session like then? Well, first and foremost, it's a really pacey bike. You know, it's no really surprise that it's one of the most successful downhill bikes ever. You can pick and place it really easily. The balance and the poise of it is incredible. What we did notice out in Peeler was the back end did step out a little bit on some of the faster corners. But now we're back on the carbon chainstay. There's definitely a little more life in the back end of the bike. I'm just looking here at some of the details we've picked up on the session over the last year or so. Saint brakes for starters. We didn't really like the old Saints out in the Alps. Definitely a bit of resistance in that lever, which became a bit tiring at the bottom of the longer runs. But new Saints, no problem at all. Top brake. Fox THX2, yeah, that's an improvement over the old damper. But more importantly, the Fox 40. It's a great fork, and you know what, I think undoubtedly the best downhill fork of 2016, and you know, it just comes as standard on this session. Let's see, I should bloody hope so for that friggin' money. With the Athertons now on Trek, obviously people are going to be making the comparison with the GT Fury. You know, the GT Fury is £2,000 less than the session, but it's a whole world different kind of level of finish on this session compared to the Aluminium Fury. You know, that's what you're paying for. In terms of geometry, I still think it's a bit too high in the bottom bracket. You know, you're never going to use the high setting anyway, you're always going to be in the low setting. I just like to see the bike maybe 10mm lower on the VB. Yeah, I tell you what, I reckon G's going to need a bigger bike than this as well. Having ridden pretty much all the current carbon downhill bikes, what becomes quite clear is there's definitely people who know what they're doing with carbon and those who don't. The Trek Session is definitely the best carbon front end that we've ridden. There's a really nice feel to this bike, and yeah, the overall chassis kind of flex and stiffness is, you know, it's a good feature of this bike. So what's the bottom line then? Well, I think ultimately it comes down to the Trek Session and the Specialized Demo are definitely the two best production downhill bikes. But it's about percentage gains. I think the Trek is an amazing bike in all-round conditions, and that's part of the reason why it has become such a successful race bike. I'd like to try it with the lower bottom bracket on it, but you know, that's a bit of a what if. For now, it's there as one of the top downhill bikes in our eyes anyway.